justice exit point. Justice is usually described as a fair society that is organized so that no one suffers unduly for the benefit of others. Today, we face many injustices, from the war in Ukraine to debates between Hong Kong and China. So we decided to perform a mock court trial that represents one of many injustices that the world has faced. So sit back, relax, and without further ado, let's begin.
All rise. The Honorable Judge Alicia Che, United States District Judge in and for the Central District of Washington. Hear ye, hear ye. All persons having business before this court draw near. Give attention and you shall be heard. God save the United States of America and this honorable court.
This courtroom is now in session. Please be seated. Good morning. You have all been called today to decide the fate of the accused, who stands trial for threats in the case of Cameron Shia against multiple journalists whom he has been accused of terrorizing. Mr. Shia has been tried with hate crime in the first degree. How do you plead?
Your Honor, Mr. Shia has sent threatening posters and messages to Shizuku for a long time.
Go on.
Exhibit A, a poster. He mailed this to her, and it's hinting at a threat. Anyone would have been terrified.
You raise a strong point. Do you have a counterclaim?
I do, Your Honor. Why should it be that poster was mailed by Mr. Xia? It could be anyone else.
You may think so, but we have Exhibit B, a letter planned to be sent to the same location from his house. It even had a poster inside it. We had also discovered that he has been cyberstalking Shizuku for quite a while.
Your Honor, the account have been someone pretending to be Mr. Xia.
And how do you explain the account set up on his phone?
I can say it's his phone. There's no evidence to prove that.
There isn't evidence. Mr. Shia's fingerprints were clearly shown on the phone, proving that it is his. There is no way it isn't.
Order on the court!
Pardon, Your Honor.
Continue.
As I was saying, we found Mr. Shia guilty of cyberstalking, and he eventually found where Shizuku lived, allowing him to deliver the message.
I object.
Let me finish!
Order in the court! Mr. Shia, comments are not allowed to object.
Your Honor, I would like to make Your Honor, what should we do him when he does not have any physical evidence to prove that? He is merely making false accusations.
That's where you are wrong again. We do have evidence. We have been suspecting that Mr. Shia has been involved with the hate crime for a long time.
Your Honor, I would like to mention that there is a possibility that it's not even a hate crime. The woman could have done something that incited his revenge.
That is not possible. There has been no single record of an incident in Shizuku's background history.
Do you have any witnesses with you today?
Yes, Your Honor. Please stand up and state your case.
Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, Your Honor.
You're free to ask a question.
Miss, would it be okay to tell us about yourself?
My name is Shizuku, and I am a journalist in Seattle, Washington, writing articles.
And what was your latest article about?
It was merely exposing the ideas of anti-Semitism.
And have you ever had any interaction with Mr. Shia beforehand?
No, I have not. It's my first time hearing the name.
Thank you. Your Honor, it is possible that Mr. Shia did not agree with the article, causing him to attack. It is also noteworthy that he was a leader of a neo-Nazi organization.
Does the attorney have a counterclaim?
Your Honor, I'm sure that Mr. Xia or anyone else would never choosing someone just because of an article. That's really insane.
Maybe not just from the article, but Shizuku's race could have been a motive for his attack.
Are there any more statements from the defender's side?
No, Your Honor.
Then there will be no further discussions. How do you plead, Mr. Shia?
Innocent, Your Honor. I did what I believe was right and have no regrets.
Well, Mr. Shia, evidence has shown that you are in fact guilty of committing hate crime, cyberstalking, and racial discrimination. According to law enforcement, you will be sentenced to 10 years in prison. There will be no bail. However, it can possibly be shortened to 8 years if you're willing to give the names of those in the neo-Nazi organization.
No, I can't.
Well
changed my
I
mind.
said before dismissed. Yes.
Right, this is the end.
I hope you enjoyed watching our mock presentation as much as we enjoyed putting it together. The big idea for this unit of justice is a fair society is organized so that no one suffers unduly for the benefit of others. This idea of justice was presented in many different ways during our mock trial presentation. For example, the judge, me, had the most important role, which was to serve justice to those who had been deprived of it. My job was to decide who was guilty and who was innocent using pure evidence so as not to be biased. It was up to me to make sure that whatever decision I chose to make would serve justice to the victim and consequences to the perpetrator.
The attorney's main job in this way was to try to prove that what the convict did was justified by arguing with the prosecutor to make fairness and equality to everyone as human beings, whether the person has committed a crime or not.
Inside the courtroom, the role of the prosecutor is to try serving justice towards the convict. This justice is decided by the laws and the regulation made by the community for equal opportunity. In this mock trial, I was the prosecutor trying to find out that the convict was guilty and did something unjust. Evidence I used were, for example, the fingerprints on the screen, the connections between the convict and the victim, which was the neo-Nazi organization, and how she was an article news writer who wrote about anti-Semitism, and also how the message or the letter was in his house planned to be sent.
The victim suffered on behalf of the convict because the convict did not agree with the journalist's ideas, which was working to expose anti-Semitic acts. But in the end, the victim suffered, but people could benefit through the journalism by learning about these kinds of injustices.
The Nazis' original goal was to dominate the world by spreading propaganda to oppress Jewish people, also known as anti-Semitism, which is the same goal shared by the neo-Nazis. They tend to oppose people who expose anti-Semitism and other such injustices towards humanity. In our story, their victims received such threats that when they wrote and reported articles objecting to neo-Nazi acts. These acts consequently struck fear into the Jewish American journalist, causing her to start writing about her thoughts on anti-Semitism. This then benefited Mr. Shia, whose goal was to spread his own ideologies on Nazi propaganda.
Yes. Thank you for watching our mock presentation. If you have any questions, speak now or forever hold your peace.